Hi, I am Alfonso Pérez Escudero. I am a researcher at the Center for Integrative Biology in Toulouse. Today I'm not here to tell you about my research. Instead, I'm here to tell you about Crowdfight, which is a platform to boost scientific collaborations. And I'd like to start by making the point that when we talk about scientific collaborations, we tend to focus on the tip of the iceberg. So, what is a scientific collaboration? We tend to think that this is something that happens between two researchers who share the same question and are gonna end up publishing a paper together. But why cannot I help someone even if I'm not interested in their question? Actually, if you think about it, the hardest part of finding a good collaborator is finding someone who's interested in the same question but has a different expertise. But in fact, we do often help without sharing a question. Not only that, these collaborations are essential to science, and they are the reason why we all want to be in big and good departments. It's because having the right person next door can save you weeks of trial and error when setting up a new protocol, for example, or they can save you a retraction because you didn't use the right statistical test, or they can suggest you this paper that you would have never found on your own. And also, I would like to point out that these collaborations often are below the water level. In the best case scenario, they will end up in the acknowledgements of a paper, and they will have zero impact in anybody's career. But let me come back to the iceberg, because the big problem is the missing gap. What happens when I need something is not something big enough for a proper collaboration with co-authorship and all the shebang, but I don't have a friend who can help me. Wouldn't it be great to have a web page where you can go, you can say, hey, I need XYZ, and then somebody will come and will help me with it? And I'm not talking about a forum where you post a question and you get a bunch of different answers. Those are great for some things, but not for others. What I'm talking about is having the undivided attention of an expert who will help you fix your issue. So, is this possible? A year ago, I would have said, it's not possible. There are two main reasons why this works with friends. First, you already know what your friends can do, while in general it would be very hard to find a stranger who can help you with a very specific need. Second, your friends love you, and they will help because they are your friends. But why should a stranger help? But 1 year ago also the pandemic hit, and we went into lockdown, and we were all eager to be able to do something to help. And we had this idea. Take a scientist who's already working actively against COVID-19. We have a virologist who's developing a vaccine. This scientist maybe needs something that other scientists could do. So what we'll do is we'll take this request that he has and we'll find someone who can spend the time doing that. These helpers are also scientists who may not have the skill to start a whole new project against coronavirus, but they do have the skill to help with this particular task. Honestly, we didn't think it was gonna work. We said, we'll spend a couple of days opening a web page, then nobody will care, and then 1 week later we will close the web page. But what happened was that indeed we spent a couple of days opening the web page, but then we had a huge success. We had more than 45,000 volunteers who signed up. We have hundreds of requests. And actually, we did have to close the web page after a couple of days because we could not cope with the demand. So we closed for 48 hours to reorganize ourselves, and then we reopened. And the most important thing to understand here is that it surprisingly worked. It really worked. So we were able to find good matches even for very specific and very technical requests. The volunteers were able to help the requesters often very effectively. And in some cases even they developed long-term collaborations and they ended up publishing papers together. Now, it was very successful, but it was in the context of the pandemic where everyone was eager to help. Can we generalize this to normal circumstances? Initially we thought we couldn't, but then we had two surprises. The first surprise was that we expected most requests to be something boring and mechanical, for example, transcribe data. And having one scientist doing this kind of job for another is not very efficient. It would only make sense in an emergency like the one created by the pandemic. But we got 0 requests to transcribe data. What we got were requests for very technical, very specific skills. And when a high-skilled volunteer spends a couple of hours and saves a lot of time to a requester, then that's a very efficient system. The second surprise was that we expected the requesters to be very happy because they were getting help. And they were very happy, but the volunteers were even happier. And it's not only because they were helping with the pandemic, it's mostly because they saw how useful their work could be. And it makes sense. If you are a scientist and you are all day struggling with the same project and making very little progress, which for me is what science looks like, and then suddenly you take your skill and you make a huge difference in somebody else's project, then that feels great. And honestly, I think even if we live in a very competitive world, when we see that there is so much added value, I think we are all happy to help. So this is our vision, to fill the gap in the iceberg and have scientists helping scientists. And to do this, not only for COVID-19, but for every field of science. And we want this to become something like peer review, where we consider normal to donate part of our time to the community. By the way, I don't know if you have noticed that most of the time we donate is to control each other, to review papers, to review grants. So what we want is we also donate time to help each other. And we want to copy a second thing of peer review, that it counts. Then we have standardized all the types of interactions that can happen through Crowdfight, and we document all of them. So just like you can say I reviewed this many papers this year, you will be able to say I helped in these many requests this year. Now, how does it work? Because it already works. This is not something for the future. It's already working right now. You can go to crowdfight.org and you can ask for help for your project. And it's really easy. We are open to every field of science. Either if you are looking for a long-term collaborator to start the project and be co-authors and all the shebang, or for quick interactions that are too short for co-authorship. The request can be something simple, but it can also be something very technical, very specific. Now, examples of things you can request. If you need someone with a specific expertise for a long-term project, the kind of collaboration that will typically end up with a common paper, we can help you find this person. But we can also help you when you need a quick interaction. For example, if you need a reagent or a strain, we can look for someone who will send it to you. If you need help to set up or troubleshoot a protocol, we can find someone who masters it and who can walk you through it. If you have an idea that involves a different field, we can put you in touch with an expert who will know the relevant literature. If you are planning to buy new equipment, we can put you in touch with someone who already has it so that they can give you an unbiased assessment of how well it works. If you need help with coding, statistics or theory, we can put you in touch with relevant experts. Everything is 100% free. We are a non-profit, we are just a bunch of scientists who are trying to change scientific culture. Everything is free. Also, you can join us, and here's what will happen if you do. You will receive an email from time to time saying, hey, someone needs XYZ, can you help? Usually, you cannot, it's just not your expertise. That's okay, you just click, I can't help with this one, and actually this helps us to send you more relevant requests in the future. From time to time, you can help, and then we will put you in touch with the requester, you will help someone advance their project, you will make a connection, and you will help us make the world a little bit better. Obviously, this is the work of a big team. It especially works thanks to the thousands of scientists who believe in this project. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them below, or you can reach us by email, by Twitter, or any other means. This is all work in progress. We are very happy to get all the feedback we can. Thank you very much.